Hey YouTube, this is TCA Gaming. So in this video I am going to have a pretty big announcement. So after all the messages on IG, Facebook, YouTube, basically everywhere that I was going to, I am going to auction off a single uncut sheet, and it's going to be a pretty historic piece in my opinion. I'm going to give you all the information that I have on it. The pros, the cons, what I think, some speculation, and then maybe we'll go into a little bit more detail about the history that I have with this sheet personally myself. So it will be in the eBay Pokemon auction event, 99¢, no reserve, Friday the 13th as far as I understand, and unless that changes for whatever reason, and it'll be with all those other crazy items that's going on there. But back to the sheet itself. So what you're looking at here is a Shadowless test sheet. The foil is a different type of foil than what you see on what was actually printed for Shadowless, regular. This foil pattern was never seen on any officially released Pokemon card. For a while there, I thought this sheet was fake because of what a print production manager had told me about it. She had never seen it in person herself, and neither had I at that point. But she had told me that she thought it was fake because of how wild the foil pattern was, and the fact that the cards didn't print all the way to the bottom. And then there may have been a few other details. I posted about it on PokeGym a while back, and it was in contradiction to what some of the experts at the time had said. I believe PokePop, he was a big guy in the community at the time, he had seen it in person and thought it was real because he had seen the graphite layer in between the cards, which was something that fakes did not do at that time. You can kind of see right here, this is what I'm talking about. This is a real Pikachu. I cut it open, or I ripped it open, you can see that graphite layer. And whereas fake cards back then definitely didn't have that, and they also had a really crazy type, foil pattern, but these were easily identifiable as fakes back then. You can see the poor quality, the faded out blue backside, definitely not double stamped on the borders. But this right here is much higher quality, and the reason that I've dismissed what she said, because some of the things she actually told me were not true. She actually told me the Dark Dragonite, the error come on its own full sheet, but we know that's not true because I have an uncut sheet with the Dark Dragonite stuck in the middle. It's come with the uncommons in T-Rocket, and we've seen people open up packs with it. She said the same thing with the no damage Ninetales. She said it come on its own sheet, and there was only 55 in the world. There's way more than 55 of that card in the world. There's probably still 55 stuck out there sealed in decks. We know it comes from Rush Fire sealed theme deck. But anyways, I'm going to move on from that because that's the bad side. That's what I wanted to tell you guys because I want you to have all the information. At one time I did believe this was a fake sheet myself, but I'm convinced now that it is authentically printed through Wizards of the Coast. And I'm going to give you my reasons why. First off, the quality. Look at this quality. It matches up very well to what you would see on a printed Pokemon card. There's no blurriness. The resolution is great. The print layout of the sheet itself matches with the regular shadowed holo base set. Not the shadowless, the shadowed. It's got the full color bars off on the side. The back side, let's see if I can find it. Right here. If it'll zoom in. See that? That reads D. Davis, 121. The exact same sign-off person for the first edition Shadowless base set sheet that I have in my possession. It's also the exact same guy who signed off on the unlimited Shadowless base set sheet. And the thing is, this layout does not match the Shadowless layout that I've seen for first edition or unlimited. I'm not saying that it should, but it matches out the unlimited shadowed layout. What I mean by the layout, see how these Pokemon are? On the first edition Shadowless base set sheet and the unlimited, it has Machamps all across the top. And then there's actually 3 bars on the side. It's got a wider sidebar. I can't remember if it's on the right side or if it's on the left side. See how it's got like a silver border, white and then silver? It's actually got several of those on one side or the other. I can't remember which side. But this does not. And the Pokemon layout itself is different because, like I said, there's Machamps for like 3 or 4 rows on the top for those other 2 sheets, whereas the shadowed sheet is actually this exact layout except for the last row, which is not printed for whatever reason. And I believe this was just a test foil print run. Many of us speculated that it come pre-first edition. Very possible. However, to me it makes more sense that this test foil and this layout, this was done between Shadowless Unlimited and base Shadowless, because you still have Shadowless cards. However, the layout matches that exactly for the Shadowless, the regular Shadowed Hollow base set sheet. I mean, it's like card for card, Clefairy, Blastoise, Ninetales, Mewtwo. Every card is exactly the same except for, you know, the ones that are missing here at the bottom. And of course, it has to be some kind of test because, you know, this foil was never approved. It's missing evolutions in the evolution box. It's missing energies from up here on the side and along the bottom. It's missing stats in here other than the freak Magneton, who has stats for whatever reason. And this foil pattern, I believe it wasn't approved because you could see through on the borders. I'm going to see if I can get a little closer and hold it steady. See how there's like lines, almost like highway lines going through the yellow borders? I'm thinking maybe it wasn't approved because of that. And then they just went back to the scrap board, went back to what they had for the regular hollow, and then moved on. And then later on they changed it to the Cosmos pattern in base set 2. They kind of experimented a little bit with Fossil. No proof that they ever did it with Jungle. And there's other little things that just add up for this being real. Like a lot of the fake sheets from that time didn't have print dots right there. And I actually had someone from PBM visit in person and look at this uncut sheet. He told me that it would take a printer that would be worth more than $1 million to be able to print this quality of layering and imperfections and print quality, you know, just with the ink and the colors and layers and, you know, everything that you have going on here. It would take a printer that's worth more than $1 million. And you got to think, with all of the fakes that were being pumped out at the time, you know, why would someone go through all of that hassle to buy such a crazy printer, get the plates, be able to print it, get out, you know, a few sheets, and then just not ever do anything with it? It doesn't make any sense. There's no motive. There's no money there that they got back. These cards weren't ever put into circulation. In fact, there's only a few cards that have ever popped up. Like one of them is this Alakazam, and you can tell it was definitely hand cut. The owner of it is Delibird Deals. You guys could probably find him on IG. He was looking to sell his Alakazam for $8,000, but it's got, you know, pretty butchered corners. And I have seen a handful of other single cards, but every time I've seen them, they've always been in terrible condition because they were hand cut off of a sheet somewhere. So I don't think, I'm positive they come from Wizards of the Coast, but they never made it to production. And maybe somebody got a hold of a sheet and they tried hand cutting it themselves and then selling off the cards. I've been offered to do that myself. I've been offered $10,000 just to hand cut a single Charizard off of this sheet. And you know, when I got into the game, I wanted to preserve these sheets as much as possible from hand cutting. But you know, every card that we have come off of a sheet. Like if the cards are legit, you know, somebody hand cuts it, they're just damaging the card themselves. But some people like to have individual cards for their collection. You know, there's a lot of potential here. I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Charizards that nobody have in their collection. You know, if somebody decided to cut this sheet up, I mean, I could see how it would make many more collectors happy, and you could actually store it. Because until you've handled these uncut sheets, you don't realize how tough it is to keep these things stored. I'm hoping one day that a company like CGC or somebody will grade them and encase them, but until then, you know, they're really tough to keep. Even if you keep them framed, it's like you got to keep them out of the light. I mean, it's tough to have them stored, whereas a single card is something that a collector can enjoy and put away in a small, safe area. Hope that's not done to this sheet, but there is always that kind of potential for something like that to happen. But I know that whenever I sell it, whoever buys it, you know, whoever pays the most money, I mean, they're the ones who, you know, they're going to be able to do with it whatever they want, because it's no longer going to be mine. This one right here particularly, like I said, I have 2 of them, so that's the only reason I'm auctioning this one off. I've got one more. This one is in really rough shape. Now if you look at it from up here, the quality looks like it's okay. It's a great display piece. There's no huge tears or anything that would like detract overall from it, but it has several bends, lots of scratches. Let me show you that Charizard again. You guys probably picked up on the crease. See that crease? It probably goes the full length. Yeah, probably goes right through here. And I'm betting there's other creases as well somewhere in here. And there's other spots where, you know, you're going to have scratches on the card. It's hard to pick up on. Let's see. You can see that right there. And you can see some creases right here. Or I thought you could. There you go. But once you put this thing framed up on the wall, it's just going to look good. People are going to be attracted to it because it has all the original Pokemon. Anyone who knows anything is going to see the Shadowless. And then as they look a little closer, they're going to be like, wow, this sheet has a lot of historical prominence to it because, you know, it's a test sheet. You know, this is something that, you know, they were working through the kinks, trying to figure out what they wanted to do. And they decided ultimately that this was not the foil pattern that they wanted to have. But anyways, I hope you guys really find this as much of a historical piece as I do. I really hope it goes to a good home and we can see it in someone's collection for years to come. I don't know if I'll be auctioning off any more uncut sheets, but be on the lookout. I'm sure there's going to be other items that I try to add in last second for this auction. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a lot of really cool stuff going into it, and to me, this will be the star. I don't know if it's going to get the highest price, but I think this one would be the star because of how historical it is and everything that you can see in it.